Hello. I wanted to do a quick video. The minute I start, the cat starts. It's like he knows. Let's try that again. The cat is now in the room, and we all know what that means. He's probably going to jiggle things. The camera's probably going to shake. He's going to get in the way. It's his favorite thing to do. He's right here. Okay. Anyway. So I guess a few days ago, hello, it's Crowley. A few days ago, Murphy did a video where she answered some questions about the kind of books she likes. And rather than just comment on her video, I thought I'd make my own to answer those questions. And I will put a link to her original video in the description to this video if you haven't seen it, but probably you have. I'm sorry if the lighting is a little weird or different. Normally I use natural lighting. We have a house full of windows and skylights, but it's rainy today, so I had to use artificial lighting, so it's a little bit different than normal. But without further ado, let's see. Which perspective is your favorite? Okay, so what she meant by this when she answered it, as I understand it, and if I'm remembering right, is what point of view? First, second, or third. That's not point of view. I guess that is, I don't know. Person. First person, second person, third person. And I would say, for a long time, I didn't like first person. I don't know why. I think I'm just old enough where most things were written in third person, and first person felt really weird. And we won't even talk about second person because that's something that's almost never done except maybe in choose your own adventure novels. And I guess that book You, which I've heard of, but it's not like I'm ever going to read it because it's not my thing. So anyway, as I've gotten older and the more I read, the more I do enjoy first person. And I've begun writing more in first person as well. It's a nice way to get into the characters' minds, since I'm a character writer and I like strong characters when I read. I do really like first person, but I like third person too. I think it kind of depends on the story and what the author's trying to accomplish. Question 2, which format is your favorite? Hardback, paperback, audiobook, or ebook? Well, we'll start with the fact that I can't listen to audiobooks. I can't absorb a story when it's being read to me. I need to see the words. So I don't listen to audiobooks. I can listen to a podcast, no problem, but for some reason, books, I need to see the words. So for me, a hardback or a paperback, it's kind of, the same. I guess if it's a book I want to be able to take with me, a paperback is easier. I have a really big purse that I usually carry at least one book in for if I'm out and about, which hasn't happened lately. So obviously it's easier if it's a paperback, it's less heavy, more portable. But hardbacks, especially if it's a book I like and I want a nice copy of it, I usually want a nice hardback copy. When I read The Raven Cycle, I read them all in paperback, and then I went and bought a nice set of hardback editions. And then ebooks, these days, if it's a book I'm not sure I'm gonna like or want to keep, I'll read the ebook, because that feels, less permanent. It's not going to take up space, and I'm not going to have to try and figure out how to get rid of it, especially right now since I can't go to half-price books and, trade. But anyway, question 3, do you prefer a character or plot-focused book? Like I mentioned, I'm a character person. I fall in love with characters, and then I feel like character sort of informs plot, because it's the way the characters behave, excuse me, that will kind of cause things to happen. So I really like a good depth of character so I understand why they're doing what they're doing. If it's like a plug and play where just about anybody would work, or if the characters are very much like, cardboard cutouts, this is the adventurer and this is the thoughtful one or whatever, then I just can't get into it. That's not my thing. So I'm definitely a character person. I mean, obviously, I want them to do interesting things and have interesting things happen to them, but I can love a character in a bad plot way more easily than I can enjoy a plot-based book where the characters are, like, forgettable. Do you care about prose? I'm not sure I understand what that means. Like, certainly there are times when I've opened a book and even if the premise is interesting, if it's written in some way that I just really don't like, I can't read it. I can't bring myself to read it. So I guess I care about prose. I mean, I like to think I'm pretty open-minded, but there have definitely been books where I'm like, I just can't do this. I can't get into it. I can't think of one right now because I put them down so quickly and then I forget them. But it's definitely happened. How introspective do you want your characters to be? Well, I'm a character person and I like first person, so I like it when they think. I mean, I don't want them to be repetitive. I think a lot of times the problem I have, especially with maybe YA characters, but I don't want to generalize, is that sometimes the characters, if you're in their minds, they keep having the same thoughts over and over and over. And I'm like, yeah, we get it. Can we move on to the next thing now? So there is a hazard, I guess, of it not going well if the character is like, navel gazing a little too much and just like kind of looping in their thoughts. It's something that has to be done well, but that's true of any writing, right? So introspection to a degree. How do you like your relationships? I don't know. I like the whole enemies to lovers thing. I like some good banter. I like angst, I'll admit. I'm not, obviously, like, everybody happy doesn't make a very interesting story, so obviously there needs to be conflict. But, and I like a really good platonic relationship, like a really good friendship is always fun. I guess that's what the question means. I'm not entirely sure. I like it when there's one that's more extroverted and one that's more introverted, or one that's smart and one that's brawny. I don't know. I like contrasts. Do you like a lot of description? No. I think this comes from my screenwriting days where it's, you give just enough description for the art department to do their job. You put in anything that's really important because, that's integral to the scene for some reason, and everything else is up to the art department or whatever. So when I'm writing, I actually often have to go back and add description later, because even though I'm picturing it, I don't always give enough information for a reader to picture it, and then sometimes I go overboard in the other direction. I remember once I was writing something, and I wrote, like, they were sitting in a circle, so I wrote who was next to who, because to me that was important to kind of show the dynamics of who wants to sit next to each other and who's looking across at each other. And my beta readers were like, why do we need to know this? Like, we can just know they're sitting in a circle or whatever, I guess. So description for me is hard, and I don't like too much of it because it does kind of detract. I'm sorry if you're hearing, like, my kids get, like, rowdy. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, description, like I went through an Anne Rice phase where I read all those books, and they can get very flowery and they can get very like, well, Louis in Interview is super introspective to a point where you're just like, dude. But so I mean, obviously I want some description. I need them not to be in a blank room or whatever, but not a lot. Don't need a lot. Do you prefer standalones or a series? A standalone or a short series. I get bored. And I also find that things are really hard to sustain over time. So I feel like if there's like a ton of books to something, I feel overwhelmed and I won't even start the series. If it goes on for a long time, it's hard for me to stay interested. Like, I've been reading the Peter Grant books by Ben Aronovich, and I love those books, but I find it harder and harder to pick up the next one because I don't know, I feel fatigue from it, even though I enjoy them. Like, people have been trying to get me to read like the Jim Butcher Dresden stuff, but there's like so many of them, and I'm like, no, I'm not. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna pick that up. There's too much. The one, I guess like thing I might like manga, because I can read manga pretty quickly. I've read the first few Black Butlers, and I know there's like 60 or something. Maybe more now. I don't know. Like, at some point I will get to all of them. But like, to me, manga I can read rapidly. So a long manga series doesn't faze me. Single POV or multiple POV? Okay, again, this is kind of, it goes back to perspective. Like, I used to only want like a single POV, and the jumping around really bothered me. I still only want 2 or 3 points of view if I'm gonna get them, because I don't like the jumping or like, and maybe this goes with like the fact that I don't read a lot of high fantasy because there's just too many characters and too much to keep track of. And with the POV thing, I kind of start to feel the same way when you get to like 5, 6, 7. I tried to read George R.R. Martin, and like, I don't think I got 3 pages into that, but like, seriously, just, it's not, I can't. So yeah, if it's multiple POV and first person, that's better. If it's multiple POV and third person, you've lost me. I'm just like, what? So, because if you're gonna do multiple POV, I feel like the point of that is to be in different people's minds and get different perspectives on what's going on. But yeah, like, if I don't mind multiple POV as much as I used to, but it needs to be worth it. Like, it needs to contribute to the story in some way. And then finally, do you prefer a strong start, middle, or finish? Wait, is that the last question? Yeah, that is the last question. Okay. I guess a strong finish obviously is the most satisfying. But a strong start is also necessary to get somebody into a book. I don't know. I'm probably more patient than a lot of people. I'll give a book a little bit of time to get it, moving. But again, I'm old enough that I remember that books used to always be slow, and now books and movies, it's like go, 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 because people's attention spans just keep getting shorter, I think. So yeah, like, I guess I'm most willing to deal with kind of a wandering middle, as long as it starts and ends well. I don't know. As a writer, I find the ending the hardest part to write. Like, I can start well, I can have lots of things going on, and then it's kind of like, oh, some point I've got to conclude this, so even though I feel like such a hypocrite saying I think the finish needs to be strong, because I don't feel like that's my strong suit. But I do think that, yeah, strong finish is probably because I feel like you can enjoy a book and enjoy it, and then if the end like falls flat, that's what you remember and you walk away disappointed. So anyway, those were all the questions. Again, I will put the link to the original video in the description. Let me know if you have any thoughts about any of these, what you like to read, or like how you like to read it. What are the important things to you when you're reading a book? And I will see you next time. I finished Minfreya in the morning. I'm not even 100 pages into Conjuring of Light. It's slow going, and I've got more manga coming today, so I'm probably going to read that first. It's not Black Butler, it's more Takane Tohana. But we can talk about that and all the problematic issues with that series, which I've mentioned before, but I'll talk about manga all the time. Okay, so see you in another week or two. I've got some really good ears for Lunar New Year that I'm excited to wear, probably in the next video, which should come out around that time. And I'll see you then.